well, there are two questions. One is there something special about certain venoms, such as wasp or bee or ant venom, that makes them more allergenic? And also, is there something special about peanuts that makes them more allergenic than other foods? And I think the answer to that is yes. I don't know if we are smart enough to figure out why some people can eat peanuts and some people can't. Some people that have allergies to peanuts may have mild reactions, and some people have very severe reactions. I think that kind of goes back to the very first question that was asked, why do some people have severe allergies, or, what is the cause of the spectrum? And so I think it depends on the food, it depends on the person, and it also depends on what else is going on with the person. So people who have peanut allergy and asthma will have a much higher risk of having a fatal or near fatal reaction, because their allergic reaction may also trigger asthma. So they could have a severe respiratory attack. I think the same is true for any allergen. So there's going to be a spectrum of disease for anything that you become allergic to. So some people will be mild, some people will be not so mild, and some people will be really, really severe. And we don't really, I'm sure there's a genetic reason for that, but we haven't figured that part out yet. If we could figure that out, we'd probably be out of jobs. And then your second question is concerning, to add to your other question with food, some foods being more allergenic. And yes, there are some structural differences in foods. The way that the actual protein folds on itself. Some are what we call linear epitopes, where they're in a straight line. The protein is in a straight line. And then there's some that are more conformational. So some of those differences in the structure actually cause you to have a higher tendency to respond in an allergic way, just based on how the food or the protein is structured. And I think the same goes for venoms. It has to do with the structure of the protein, and also the timing of the exposure. I think some people can go through their whole lives without being stung by a wasp, and maybe they get stung, once when they're a kid and once when they're an adult. So even though you have some immunologic memory, you don't necessarily respond with an allergic reaction when you're stung the second time, whereas some people will respond the second time.
I think there's a distinction we could make here, too, from the plant and animal point of view, that the pollen that causes hay fever, there's no adaptive advantage to that in terms of the plant. But the bee stings, there is an adaptive reason for that, and that is something that has evolved, because that is a defense mechanism. And bees that have cause greater harm, not necessarily allergic reactions, but cause greater pain and swelling, those bees are going to have more offspring than bees that don't have that. So that is something that has evolved, whereas the pollen shape, there's no impact on the plant evolution by human reactions.